welcome to the Badass Breastfeeding Podcast. This is Dianne, your lactation consultant.
And I'm Abby, the Badass Breastfeeder, and today's episode is brought to you by Cake Maternity. Cake Maternity stocks one of the largest ranges of maternity and nursing bras. And today's episode is also brought to you by Baby Catan. Baby Catan is a baby carrier that allows parents to wear easily without complicated wrapping or buckling. And we'll hear more from our sponsors later, but these sponsors make this podcast possible. So please head to badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com and check out our sponsor page if you need anything. Check there and see if you can give our sponsors any of your business. And while you're there, scroll down and enter your email address and get our episodes sent straight to your inbox. And now it's time for our review of the week.
Yes, and this comes from Gina, and I'm reading this one. She just sent this to me this week, and I wanted to read it because she made her goal, and she's very excited. So her goal was very recent, so I wanted to make sure we gave this a shout out today. Said, "Hey, ladies, loving the podcast. You're both doing a great job. I wanted to share with you that my milky guy and I mother effing made it to our big goal. 1 year on December 18th. Woohoo! And still going. And thanking you both from the bottom of my heart from all your weekly laughs, head nods, fist raises, yes queens, and support you give me. I have passed along so much helpful info and referred so many mamas to your podcast and Facebook. Please know that what you are doing is making all the difference for so many. P.S. I wanted to share with you that my pediatrician was so impressed that the little one was still nursing. He walked in when I was giving my little man a snack at his 1 year well baby and said, wow, that's great. He's still feeding from you. I always tell mothers, not only is it so good for baby, it's great for mother. Lots of health benefits for you too. Great job. Yay for Pete. Supportive. PPS, love the episode on sex after baby you did on the 14th. I laughed so hard. Thank you." From Tina and her Milky Man. And I love that she made her goal. Congrats. That's a big deal. And I also wanted to read this one today because we just did that episode last week about medical info to flush. And I love that her pediatrician is so supportive.
Yeah. Shout out to that pediatrician. Totally.
It's fantastic. So congratulations. And congratulations to everybody who's making their goal, because even if your goal is, let me get through the next day, because sometimes that is the goal. So congrats. Yeah,
your goal is whatever your goal is.
Absolutely.
Don't look at other people's papers. Just stick to your own. That's cheating. So you can be inspired by other people, but
that's true. Yeah, you can be inspired by other people. So she sent this to us via email. We love to get the emails, put them on iTunes. We get them there too, and it's great for the podcast when they go on iTunes. So if you can do that, that helps us a lot. And we are going to talk about laws today. I can't believe we haven't done this yet in the whole 3.5 years we've been podcasting.
I know. Actually, it's a topic that I think about all the time, and I'm always hesitant to do it because the laws are so complicated and convoluted that I feel like I'm not going to be able to do them justice to explain them to people. But I've come to the conclusion that they are confusing, and we're all confused. Everyone is confused, and in some ways they're working against us, actually, which we can talk about a little later. But yeah, we can't avoid the topic anymore.
No, and
if you're confused, don't worry. We're all confused.
Yeah, we're all confused. But I think we should use it in our favor. You know what I mean? I was reading through these and I was like, these are ridiculously vague, and we should just use it to our favor. And some of them need to be changed. So that's another thing.
They all need to be changed.
Oh my gosh. I mean, some are like, all right, but some are worse than others for sure. And it's like, give me a break here. So if you're listening and you happen to be from one of the states that we call out today, I don't know, call your senator, do something. I have no idea how laws happen. I don't want to know.
Well, I've been a part of it here in Illinois, so I can tell you how.
On breastfeeding stuff or something different?
Yes. No, breastfeeding laws.
I mean, it is just it's chaos. So we're going to talk.
Start with your alderman, schedule a meeting, try to get them on your side, try to get them to bring it to their, meetings, try to get it heard in front of a committee. You can do it. That's how all of these laws were made. That's how all of them were made. Do you really think that some higher up politician, probably some white guy, was like, I think out of my own brain that we need to have better laws for breastfeeders. No, it was freaking breastfeeders that push back against the ridiculous ass shit that's written out there and got things changed. Now we have so much work to do.
Yeah, there's still so much that needs to be done. There was one time here in Rochester that I was with a couple other people, a couple other advocates, one person from the Civil Liberties Union, and we were like just trying to get breastfeeding rooms in the county office buildings. That's all we wanted. Breastfeeding rooms in the county office buildings so that people who were going into the county office buildings had access, so that home visitors had a place to go if they were going from house to house and didn't have a place to pump and were stuck in their cars. And we just thought, you know what? They're county office buildings. It's New York state law to have a place for these mothers to breastfeed. Why don't we have a specific room in the county office buildings? That was like the hardest thing. It was the hardest thing. And I remember them saying, one of the people that was on our side about it, she was like, I think she was like the minority leader. And she was like, well, the Democrats are putting it in, so the Republicans are going to say no regardless. And I'm like, but that's so stupid. It's not about that. And she's like, I know.
Now it's a Republican Democrat thing is breastfeeding. Okay.
Right. But it's like,
that's everything. That's the world we live in right now.
Right. It's ridiculous. It's like, isn't it supposed to be about the people? I thought it was supposed to be about the people. No, it's not.
No.
It's about how much stuff we can shoot down because the other side wants it. That's what it was about in this case. And I'm sure many, many others, but we're only here to talk about breastfeeding laws. So there is this great website, and we're going to link it in the show notes, but it is the National Conference of State Legislatures, and it gives state by state every law for breastfeeding and like really breaks it down. So if you have any like question at all about what your state is doing, go to this website because it will tell you exactly what's going on.
And while you're there, print it out, cut out your state laws and put them in your wallet and carry them with you at all times.
Yes. We're not expecting you to have any problems, but it's good to know. And if you're a mother that or a breastfeeder that travels and you're not sure, like, okay, am I going to run into trouble in another state? Then this is a good thing for you to have too. So definitely know your state law for breastfeeding. Definitely know your law. So this is the one thing I want to talk about. This is so dumb. So Congress passed the Fairness for Breastfeeding Mothers Act of 2019 in July 2019. So a year and a half ago. The law requires certain public health buildings to provide a shielded, hygienic space other than a bathroom that contains a chair, working surface, and electrical outlet for use by members of the public to express milk. Sounds great, right? Doesn't that sound nice?
Mm-hmm.
We click on it. Abby does not sound thrilled.
No.
Abby sounds skeptical, and she should be, because what the actual law says, when you click on the law itself to read more about it, say, oh, this sounds great. Let me read more about it. The bill requires that certain public buildings that are open to the public and contain a public restroom provide a lactation room other than a bathroom that is hygienic and is available for use by members of the public to express milk. The lactation room must be shielded from public view, be free from intrusion, and contain a chair, a working surface, and, if the building is supplied with electricity, an electrical outlet. A public building may be excluded from such requirement at the discretion of the official responsible for its operation. If, like, get these little, if it does not contain a lactation room for employees and does not have a space that could be repurposed as one, or that could be made private by using portable materials at a reasonable cost, or the cost of new construction required to create a lactation room is not feasible.
So here's the law. You must require a lactation room unless you don't want to.
Basically, yes.
That's what that says.
And it's on the discretion of whoever's in charge of that building.
That means if you want to or not.
Yeah. So you could just say, oh, I know that there's a law, but we can't really afford it. So Yeah.
It's
We're
too
not doing
hard.
it. It's too hard. So it's nice that it's in writing, but they always have a stipulation for them to not have to follow it. That's why they're so that's why the vague is so annoying.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So we're going to break some of these down here. And this is all right on this website because I'm going to read it right from this website. So it's great. All 50 states, the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, and Virgin Islands have laws that specifically allow women to breastfeed in any public or private location. That I feel like is questionable because when I go state through state, when I looked at state through state, when I went through this, a lot of states state public only. Some of them are very specific and say a mother and her child, where if they are together, it doesn't matter, public or private, they can breastfeed. And some other states just say if they're in a public place. So that's another really vague thing because if somebody were to call you out in a private location, it doesn't really say yes or no in the law in some of these states. So I find that to be pretty vague. 31 states, the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands exempt breastfeeding from public indecency laws. So what that means is they're saying if you're breastfeeding, we consider that to not be indecent.
Because, by the way, breasts are indecent, inherently indecent. And there are a lot of places where exposing your breasts is actually illegal, and you could get ticketed or whatever for that. That's a whole situation. I'm like, can't. The whole thing is so freaking messed up.
It is.
So they're exempting you from the law that says that your breasts are illegal.
Yeah, they're saying, "Don't worry, we'll allow it."
Yeah, we'll allow it. By the way, how many times are we going to hear the word "allow" in these laws?
Oh my
allow.
Gosh.
You're going to allow me to breastfeed?
It's ridiculous.
Up yours. Allow.
32 states, the District of Columbia and Puerto Rico, have laws related to breastfeeding in the workplace. So only 32 states have laws that allow you to breastfeed in the workplace. There is a federal law about breastfeeding in the workplace. So that covers all the states, but 32 states have specific laws about it. And if your state is one of those states that has a specific law about breastfeeding in the workplace, then you're going to want to know what that law is. So, for example, New York State has a law about breastfeeding in the workplace, and our New York State law is better than the federal law. But a lot of places don't realize that there's a state law, so they're just following the federal law when they're supposed to be following the state law. Are you following me?
Yes.
So know what your state law is because you could be missing out on benefits here if they're only following what the federal law says. So our law, I think one of the things that it says is that they can pump or breastfeed for up to 3 years. And the federal law is like 1 year or 2 years or something like that. So definitely know what your law is in your state. And only 32 states have specific to breastfeeding in the workplace laws. 20 states and Puerto Rico exempt breastfeeding mothers from jury duty or allow jury service to be postponed.
Yep, I'm in one of those states. Actually, in Illinois, you're exempt from jury duty if you're the primary caregiver of a child under 12.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I know that. Yeah, I know. I know it's my civic duty, but man, I'm like, I've got my letter drafted every time I get the thing in the mail. I'm like, sorry.
So
not coming.
Our state, get this, New York just recently put this out and I had a freaking fit. And it was funny because I know the commissioner of jurors in our state. I happen to know just like kind of socially. And he always was very welcoming to breastfeeding. They have a breastfeeding room at the jury place. It's, and he's always very proud of that. And he always wants to tell me about, the breastfeeding room at the jury for the jurors. So New York came out with this law very recently that said that if you're breastfeeding, you could be exempt from jury duty if you have a note from your doctor.
Oh, please.
So the commissioner of jurors is somebody that I would run into for coffee every now and again. And I walked in like the day after this came out or something. And he was like, did you see? And I'm like, don't even talk to me about this. This is ridiculous. He was like, well, we always exempt them anyway. You know, we don't follow that. We don't care about that. And I go, I know, but give me a break. You need a note from your doctor to say, oh, she's breastfeeding. From your doctor? Are you serious right now?
Yeah, I can show you right now. I don't need a note from my doctor. I can stick my baby on my boob right now.
It's ridiculous.
Well,
I need to show proof that I'm breastfeeding.
Yeah. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. I can't stand anything about this comment. This is barf emoji all over this episode. I hate, this is also a reason that we haven't covered this or I haven't brought it up because I cannot stand this conversation. I cannot physically deal with it.
Oh my gosh. This is terrible. I didn't mean to piss you off so much.
It's okay. I prepared myself.
Did you? Okay, good. But Abby would put the puke emoji out.
Yeah.
If she could right now.
Diane called me out on my puke emoji overuse yesterday.
I love it. It's not overuse. I think it's appropriate use.
I can't. Sometimes it's just the only thing. The only thing to say is just puke emoji.
I know, because there's no words.
It's real graphic, too. I know we all know the puke emoji. It's like this, this yellow smiley face. And it's just got like a whole...
green
tsunami of like green puke coming out. And I'm like, yes, that's exactly it right now. That's what it is.
6 states and Puerto Rico have implemented or encouraged the development of a breastfeeding awareness education campaign, which is fantastic. But only 6 states have done that. California, Illinois, Minnesota, Missouri, Mississippi, and Vermont. So yay to you that you have developed a breastfeeding awareness education campaign.
Yay. Slow clap for minimal, effort.
6 states.
Sorry. Yeah, right.
6.
Good for you for doing the bare minimum.
Yes. So let's talk about a few of the other things once we hear from our brand new sponsors.
Yes, we have 2 new ones today we're excited about, which are, again, handpicked by Diane and I. So we don't just feed you garbage sponsors. Like we actually reach out to people and that we think are cool.
Yeah.
Enough to tell you about. Today's episode is brought to you by Cake Maternity. Cake Maternity is a nursing bra specialist passionate about breastfeeding and the many benefits it offers for parent and bub and the environment. Breastfeeding, whilst natural, doesn't always come naturally to everyone. That's why they've made it their mission to empower breastfeeders as they mindfully navigate the world of parenthood and help make breastfeeding easier through experience-driven innovation. Cake Maternity stocks one of the largest ranges of maternity and nursing bras, which include seamless, sleep, flexible, wired, non-wired, sports, padded, plunge, t-shirt, and fuller busted bras in sizes ranging from 38A to 42K in the U.S. sizes. With 13 years of experience under their belt, Cake Maternity is renowned for their quality, fit, and support. Cake has you covered for your maternity and nursing bras. Head to Cake Maternity. You heard it right, like chocolate cake, but not chocolate. Just cakematernity.com and use code BADASS15 for 15% off of your order of the nursing bra that you need. And today's episode is also brought to you by Baby Catan. Baby Catan. The Baby Catan baby carrier offers an innovative, ready-to-wear patent design, allowing parents to easily carry baby without any complicated wrapping or buckling. Simply slip it on like a t-shirt and choose from over 5 positions that best fit you and your baby. Their sizing calculator will ensure you find your best fit. For the breastfeeding parent, the Baby Catan baby carrier assists and promotes successful breastfeeding. The sash can be used as a discreet nursing cover while on the go, but is small enough that it can be tucked away easily in a diaper bag or purse. The Baby Catan baby carrier has won numerous awards for Best Newborn Baby Carrier over the years for its ease of use and functionality. Baby Catan continues to increase their product line with smart, simple, and stylish products that are designed to help promote the natural bond between parent and baby. Check out Baby Catan at babycatan.com. That's BABYKTAN.com. And use code BADASS for 10% off your baby carrier. Hurry, because this offer ends March 19th. March 19th, 2021. So head over there. And these sponsors and these promo codes can be found in our show notes under this episode on badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com. Our show notes will also include further information about things that we talk about in this episode. And at badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com. You will also find our breastfeeding resources, all of our other episodes, and information about scheduling your very own one-on-one online lactation consultation with Dianne.
Absolutely.
And our shout out of the week is going to go to my friend, Rue the Boob Boss. This is an awesome lady on Instagram. Rue Cosa. She's an IBCLC in Redmond, Washington, I believe. She has her own practice out there. But she is a fantastic Instagram personality. She does all these cool like TikTok videos about like breastfeeding and pregnancy and gives tons of great breastfeeding information and is just like total badass. So follow this account. It is Rue the Boob Boss. So that's RUE_ the Boob Boss. And follow that account. And if you go into her link tree, she has tons and tons of cool like breastfeeding, just information links for, specific things that you can get information about.
Awesome.
And that's what I got.
So follow her, Rue the Boob Boss. It'll be in our show notes too, if you need to look back on that again. Okay, so back to the laws. There are some states that have like very unique laws for breastfeeding, which are really good. Puerto Rico requires shopping malls, airports, public service government centers, and other select locations to have accessible areas designed for breastfeeding and diaper changing that are not bathrooms. Louisiana requires certain state buildings. Illinois requires at least one mother's lactation room in the state capital. So was that you that made that happen?
No. A room in the state capital? No. It was specific. God, my God, it was so many years ago now. Jack was like a nursing baby. I can't remember the Illinois laws. And I didn't make it all the way through. I went to the first couple of meetings and then.
There's some good ones here. So Illinois also requires a public school.
Has some,
yeah, public school, including a charter school, to provide reasonable accommodations to a lactating pupil on a school campus to express breast milk, breastfeed an infant child, or address other needs related to breastfeeding, provides for grievance procedures. That is huge. Provides for grievance procedures. Because if you're hearing me read these, there is really no.
Yeah, we need to get into that. Yeah.
Yeah. California also has great law for schools, which I think is great. Just like Illinois, lactating pupil, high school campuses, things like that, breastfeeding an infant or to address other needs related to breastfeeding. And then a couple of states are specific to childcare facilities, which I think is really important. I do want to say California has some really great breastfeeding laws. However, they have one here that needs to just be changed. It just needs to be changed. So I'm hoping somebody's listening is going to get on this. It is, let me find it because it's, let's see. I think it's in the very beginning.
California begins with C.
Yeah. No, but I mean, it's got like a lot. Like it's a huge section for all their laws for breastfeeding. Okay, here it is. Allows a mother to breastfeed her child in any location, public or private, except the private home or residence of another, where the mother and the child are otherwise authorized to be present. So California has these amazing breastfeeding laws, but if you're in someone else's house, forget about it.
Well, if you're in someone else's house, you got to do what they do, right? I mean, you can't just light up a cigarette in someone's house. I'm not saying breastfeeding is the same as lighting a cigarette, but if somebody came into my house and I don't know. Yeah.
I just don't know. Like, why is that even specified?
Why is it even written there? But why is it written there? No, and when you're finished, I'm going to get into my stuff because I have stuff too that I need to say about all the stuff that you're saying.
Good. Okay. But that is really like, I wanted to mostly point out that there are a couple of states that have something specific for schools. And I think that's really important because you do have students that are breastfeeding babies. And I have had people ask me here, well, okay, there's a specific law for the workplace. What about for schools? What about your community colleges where you have, mothers and breastfeeders at all the time? What about high schools where you have breastfeeders? What do they do? What are their guidelines? So there are states that have specific guidelines for it. And if your state doesn't have a guideline for it, does that mean you can just do it? I would say yes.
Absolutely.
Right? Absolutely.
That is the thing that is confusing people about these laws. The confusing thing is that people think, well, here's a law that says I can breastfeed in this building. Therefore, breastfeeding anywhere else is illegal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, listen. Breastfeeding is not illegal anywhere. There are no laws that say you can't breastfeed here, you can't breastfeed there. What these people are trying half-assed to do is protect people in certain situations. But it's actually can come back to bite you in the ass, because then people have actually used this. Well, the law says that you can breastfeed here, but you're here, so therefore you cannot. That is not right. That is not what that means. You are allowed to breastfeed wherever you are, anywhere, anytime. I don't care where you are. If somebody tries to tell you that you can't, they are wrong. If your state doesn't have a law that says that you're protected in that area, then that is the fault of the law, not you. Breastfeeding is not illegal anywhere. You are allowed to breastfeed everywhere. And if somebody gives you a hard time, what you need to do is a few things. Either go to management if you're in a business, go to management, because a lot of times what happens when somebody tells you that you can't breastfeed there is that it's just this rogue employee, that's just like, you can't do that. You got to go to the changing rooms, whatever. Usually if you get management involved, they'll be like, oh, sorry. Yeah, no. We need to, that's not really our policy. And, policies have actually been put in place in places like Target.
Mm-hmm.
Because people were harassed there. And that was how I got into all this. I have several stories about how I got into all this. But one of the things that happened when Jack was a baby was somebody in my local Target here in Illinois was asked to leave. And there was a big nurse in. And I went with little baby Jack to Target and did a nurse in. And there were actually, it was like one of those, it happened here, but then everyone around the country was at their Target.
Oh, yeah.
And Target wrote a policy. Target wrote a policy that was like, don't, part of our training now, part of our policy is that people can breastfeed wherever they want. And actually, if you go into most Targets now, at least our Target, it's in our Target, so I'm going to go ahead and say most Targets because that's how logic works. Some Targets have a whole little section that's just for nursing parents. There's a little breastfeeding room, a little breastfeeding area that is all built from that incident. This has happened with airlines. It's happened with many businesses that somebody was told to leave. They fought back. And now there's actually written policy that employees need to support and welcome and not harass people who are breastfeeding. So that's one avenue. The other avenue, if you have an issue, is to take to social media. And this is how a lot of things have changed too, is this PR that happens over social media. And I can help you with that.
Mm-hmm.
Because these places will get a beating and a PR nightmare, which actually has led to a lot of changes in policy too. If you're going to go that route, you need to be prepared to be dragged through the mud, because then you will be the face of the change. But do it. It's worth it. The other thing is, like, if you are really being told that you can't, and I'm talking specifically about breastfeeding in public. There's obviously the work laws and stuff where, you have to you'd have to go to your manager, HR, or something like that. But specifically to breastfeeding in public, get a lawyer, sue them for what's it called? Pain and suffering or whatever.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. You are allowed to breastfeed wherever you want to breastfeed. This is ridiculous to have a conversation about where we are allowed to breastfeed our babies. This whole conversation is so stupid. You are allowed to breastfeed. The fact that this law doesn't state which situation is a fault and the failure of the law doesn't mean that you need to change anything. The only law that we need, and this is another failure of all of these laws are pointless because there are no enforcement provisions.
Right.
If you are harassed or you're asked to leave, you can flash your little state law and be like, nah, I'm allowed to stay here. And if they argue with you, whatever, there's no legal recourse for you. You can't do anything about it.
No.
There's nothing you can do. The only law, in my opinion, that is needed is that it is illegal for anyone, anywhere, at any time to tell a breastfeeding person to move, to stop, or to cover up. That's the only law we need on the books across this country.
Yeah.
If there is a person breastfeeding, leave them the F alone. That's the only law we need.
It's simple. It should be that simple.
Yeah.
And the ones that kill me, like this is what Montana states. The breastfeeding child in any location, public or private, where the mother otherwise has a right to be, is legal and cannot be considered a nuisance, indecent exposure, sexual conduct, or obscenity.
Okay, thanks.
The fact that they're even putting that in the same sentence as,
it's so offensive.
It is really, really offensive.
So it's downright offensive that the exposure of breasts is illegal anywhere.
I know.
That is so offensive to me. Yet, okay, I got to watch my mouth. Yet men can walk around with no shirts on whenever they want. But women with the exact same body part,
right?
It's illegal. This country is so messed up.
It is really.
It is so sick.
It is really insane that there is no recourse. And people ask me about that all the time because of breastfeeding in the workplace laws. Well, what if my workplace doesn't accommodate me? Then what? And it's like, you know what? Nothing. Like they don't, unless you're willing to really fight your workplace and put them all over social media and shame them and lose your job. But they don't get fined.
Nope.
There's no recourse. Why wouldn't they keep doing it? Like it's like having a child and you tell them, you try to reprimand your child and you just keep letting them do what they do without following the rule of the reprimand. Does that even make any sense? Probably not.
Yeah.
Because now I'm fired up about this. Like it's really just.
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand why, when it comes to employees, why we wouldn't want to just create a situation where breastfeeding and pumping is easy for that employee. That's so much easier than having that person quit and then having to retrain somebody. Why? I don't understand why businesses don't see this as an opportunity to retain their employees.
Right.
I mean, I didn't go back to work, but when I was pregnant, my boss sat me down. I've told the story before. And she's like, okay, so we'll clean off like a shelf in the refrigerator, which will just be for your milk. And you already have I already had a bathroom kind of on my end of the building. And so we'll just make that like your bathroom and everyone will use a different bathroom. And then you can have your pump parts in there. And the building was like very well set up for it already. And I know that some places are not, but like, honestly, a mini fridge in a place that doesn't have a fridge or something like that is way cheaper than all the things you need to go to deal with an employee that doesn't come back. It's not that hard.
No.
It's really not that hard. People make it hard, and they make it hard because all of this is about controlling women. This whole thing is like, well, oh my God, look at these people. Now they want to do this. And it's all like we're constantly, this is the fight that we're having right now. But it's just an extension of all the fights we've been having the whole time of just basic rights. It's all about society's control of you and your body. That's what this comes down to.
So this website, like Abby said, cut out your state, cut out the laws for your state, keep them with you. They are also dated. So you can, if somebody gives you a hard time about something, you'd be like, well, back in, 1994, there was a law made stating that I could do exactly this. People do not even realize what the laws are.
No,
that's
people
the
don't
other
know.
issue.
They just want to control and harass you. They don't know about the law. They don't care. They just people think they can get away with whatever. And don't let them get away with that with you.
And it's kind of almost comical because, like you say, like a Target where you just have some random rogue employee, or you hear this a lot of times in the summer with like swimming pool, places where people are like, you can't do that here. It's like,
the
really?
16-year-old lifeguard was like, you can't do that.
Yeah. It's like, how do you know?
Whatever.
You're just making that up in your own brain.
Right.
Yes, you can. So sometimes you need to educate people and maybe, just take it as that. Okay, I'm going to educate you on this because I can do whatever I want to right now with my baby. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And like an employee, like in a business, it's a way of retaining employees and for a workplace and for a business, as far as like public PR, like I was talking about, I don't understand why businesses don't see that as like a opportunity for some good PR.
Right.
Oh my God, we're making a statement. Oh, we heard what happened. We're very upset. We're going to put this policy in place. And on top of it, on Monday, every breastfeeder that comes to our store gets a free donut. I don't know. Whatever. Like you could, it's very simple to turn these into like positive things that support, because you can't go back to, you can't turn back time and make that employee not do that. What are you going to make out of this? You can make this like a really positive public relations situation for your company.
Right.
That's what Target did.
Mm-hmm. You have to,
I don't see it. And it's not hard. It's much easier than like dealing with the backlash of, this woman came to me, this was several years ago now, and she was in a southern state. I can't remember. Texas, Louisiana, something like that. And she was harassed at a restaurant. And she was told to leave or whatever. And then she was like, I want to talk to the manager. And the manager was like, no, it's bothering people. You need to go. I don't know. It was a really nasty situation where the business owner ended up like suing her for, bad press, or I don't know what the legal terms are for these things. So she actually had this is like, don't get scared because I've never heard this before. This is like a whole piece of crap.
That's the whole thing. Yeah.
That was like a really, really piece of crap human being who like then, like sued her. And I think it just fizzled out because he didn't have any case. He just wanted to be a jerk. And it's like, you could have done that and spent all that time doing that. Or you could have just been like, wow, this was really sorry. I'm sorry that happened. We would love if you would come back and you'll have lunch on us.
Yeah. No, control.
Done.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, we'll train our employees, to make sure that doesn't happen again. Oh, it's so easy.
It really is. I don't know why we're making this so difficult.
So
your homework is to go out there and, I don't know, change a law.
All right, go find out what your laws are. Start with that. Just start today. Go find out what they are.
Find out what your laws are. Know the laws in your area, because you might need to advocate for somebody else even.
Right.
Like true. It doesn't hurt to know what the laws are. And I guarantee you will educate somebody. And you could probably educate somebody that's like higher up in the lawmaking field because they don't have any idea what these laws are. So that's why they need to be changed.
Yep. They need to be changed to leave breastfeeders alone. It is illegal to speak to a breastfeeder in public.
That would be fun, wouldn't it?
Or no, just as simple, like it's illegal for you to ask a breastfeeder to move, to ask a breastfeeder to stop, or ask a breastfeeder to cover up. Done. Law. There.
That's it.
I made it.
All done.
That's my gavel on my desk.
Yes. All done.
God. And if they just do that, we would shut up. I know everyone's sick of hearing about it. So do something. Do the right thing.
Yeah.
And we'll shut up.
That's all it takes. We're not asking for much.
Nope.
Good luck.
Okay, bye.
Bye.